Don't know who all might be watching. Don't even know if my lighting is any good. This is mostly exposure therapy right now to be going live. People are shit indoors. Anyway, I'm recording with another phone and live on Twitch. I'm using this as exposure therapy right now to help me solidify an identity. Not just in general, but me specifically, being a dissociative split system. I spent my whole life with the legal name, going by my legal name to everyone outside of me, and then over time discovered a system of people aside from me that had different names, but are me in my head. And I've needed something to not only document, but like interact with. Going live, or being on social media, rather, in general, it has been a way to, it's an exposure therapy, it's a way to document things. It helps me reflect and take constructive criticism, observe my own patterns in thinking, and notice when I relate to who I'm watching or when I don't. It's helping me as the host of a system understand more how my own mind works, and it makes it easier for me to have agency. Because when you're a dissociative split system and there's multiple of you instead of one, and oftentimes you're made to be a host, so one of you is made to be a host, and that's not, it's a lot of responsibility without much privilege. Like the privilege is getting to be here for the experience, but my access to my own memories and memories of parts that were hosting in the front, in control of the body more for the events that's being remembered. I don't have consistent full access to all the lived experiences, and sometimes some memories are manipulated, and other times I don't understand the memories because I remember saying it, but I don't remember saying it like I meant it. I remember the event of the words coming out of my mouth, but I don't remember deciding to say that, and I don't remember why, like, internally I would be motivated to say it. So there's just a whole lot. There's a whole lot to this, and I'm just doing this for me. Talking about it and documenting it, like I said, really helps organize and explore. I get access to stuff more. I get deeper relationships with the other parts, and they get to have it more chances to be, if they want, to be in the body without wearing masks or having to blend with other parts as much that are responsible for making the host unaware that it's happening, hence the confusion when thinking back on the behavior, or like when it's happening, sometimes me as the host, I have to just watch it happen, and I know it's so strange. There have been times, like it's potent, man, the experience is potent. Experiences of, like, these instances of me processing a certain thought and a certain feeling, like an insecurity that's coming up, and like say I'm washing dishes, and then because I'm left to just do something mundane with my hands, my mind needs something to do, and I just think about whatever comes up instead of going out of my way to think about things that I want to think about. And what comes up, the thoughts that just float up, end up being things that make me feel stuff, and then make me think about it, and then explore it, because I don't want to feel a bad way about certain things, and I observe what's healthy and what's not, and face what I'm ready for. And it's not just me that I'm making these decisions for, but I'm not always privy to knowing it, and sometimes I witness myself switch to a person that's not me, and I'm made to feel how they feel. I feel what the body's feeling. I'm thinking what they're thinking. I have the same beliefs as them, and then if there's enough extremeness between how I feel and how they feel, eventually there's a point where I notice that there is a difference, that I'm feeling two different feelings and thoughts at the same time, but I have a really hard time in the moment understanding that I'm witnessing someone else thinking, feeling, acting, speaking, so forth, because I'm made to be them. And I think that's where a lot of, especially Christian-centric religious doctrines and dogma and belief systems came from. Possession. They believe that the same things that are happening to you, the process that you're having, when what I just described, they don't understand structural dissociation. There's a lot of people that don't understand structural dissociation and split personality. Like when you're growing up in developmental years and your mind has a propensity for splitting naturally, and things were not safe feeling consistently, that weren't escapable, or change didn't seem reasonable in the near future, and it happens consistently over and over again, then your brain is going to split. Your brain is supposed to form all these experiences over time, and then when you're 7, 8 years old, you start to form a personality, like a singular personality with all of those archetypes, Jungian archetypes, coagulated, let's say, assimilated into one point of consciousness. It's not just that, though. There's an understanding in psychology where the human mind in general is not known to consistently work on one stream. There's a main line, which is you and your conscious self, and then you have your subconscious, and you have your unconscious, and there are different, parts of your brain that are active for different types of activities, and those can be separated experientially by dissociation. Every single human being experiences some level of dissociation, and it's normal. It's like your brain is giving itself a break from over-processing. You're able to have a baseline rest while your body just does the bare minimum operating, something that's like autopilot, like driving, which doesn't sound safe, but there's so many people that are dissociating when they're driving, and then they show up somewhere and they don't remember the actual drive there. They remember getting in a car to go there, and then they remember coming to in the parking lot at the place that they were supposed to go. They still made it, they were safe, but they can't remember the process of getting there. And these are normal, average, everyday people that don't have split personalities, or maybe are just not aware of a certain level of separation. Not only is everyone's mind designed to separate experiences sometimes for certain things, it's load distribution. That's all it is load distribution. But sometimes the load is too big, and when it happens too early in life, then it's going to separate really far away from each other. And that there comes a certain like distance of separation where eventually they become individual. And that's what happened to me. But even though the trauma already stopped, that doesn't mean how my mind works stopped with the experience. How my mind works, it's a lot more than just surviving trauma. That's like a drop in the bucket. I've been realizing and accepting and really embracing lately with this solidifying of the identity as the host and separating from the mask, that, oh man, there's just so much to process and so much to say, and I keep jumping from idea to idea. It's hard to explain the experience of being the host without amnesia separating the parts who are taking control of the body, because there's a lot of the time, most of the time, I'm working with someone else, if not several someone else's at the same time. One person could be in charge of my hands while the other talks, and another is using the eyes to look around the room for potential threats, because they're all in the body and they all have different understandings of how to interact with the world. So the one that's using the eyes could be literally their awareness and thought process, and therefore ways that they approach interacting with the world in a body is looking out for danger, potential threats. So that's all they're going to do, and that's all they know. And it's hard to get parts like that to change in a short amount of time. It gets complicated. But then the one that's in control of the hand is occasionally taking the eyes and glancing down at the hands to look at stuff, and then giving control back to whoever else was using the eyes while they're using the hands to do tasks. Yeah. Right now, well, this morning it was much better, but throughout the day, inevitably through like doing things with my own agenda in mind, and it differs from the agenda and the plan and the program of parts that have been around for a really long time, that have had a lot of opportunity, that have a lot of let's say authority within the psyche to heavily influence behavior and perspective and access to memories and awareness and yada yada. There is someone that is assigned to be a handler for the part that has been made to be forced to front or to work in the body the most. The one that has the legal name is both me and separate from me, and it's really hard to explain how that works. I'm Gemma Viridian Shade, or Jade. I don't know why my nose is tickled so much. There's not a hair, it's like a nerve phantom tickle in my nostril. It's gross. Anyway, having that identity separate from who was the host, I guess I'm attempting to split from the host as the host. I am the host, but I'm not who M is the host, was the host, and is still part of me. We're still one, and I'm attempting to split cells but I remain the host, and she get pushed back. And we're worried that, well, first, my understanding is that this part that is handling her gatekeeper, so to speak, her identity is female, and M or Emily, and hearing the name, both spoken inside and outside, M and Emily, causes, or used to cause her, and they're still trying to make it happen, to front, to be made to be in control of the body and completely conscious. But there's something about her, because of that name, and the name that a lot of our other versions of us through when we split, however many times we split growing up, each of those parts that split were called the same name. And so no matter which version is being called upon, every version has to, on some level, has to be involved. And the way I see it in the inner world is kind of like a string of beads. The one in the front is the largest, it's the most developed, it's the oldest, the most grown, and then the smaller ones behind those are splits from earlier in the timeline. So the smallest one is like in the womb, or just born, or whenever the splitting started, whenever the stress over the mind began, and then from there on, however many times that person with that name split, each one has the same name, and so the big bead at the very front is the host in real time right now, M, the one that has introduced herself to everyone as M for the last decade or so, and before that it was Emily as a child and a teenager until like 17, 18. She wanted to be called M, and then it was pretty consistent but more prominent as time has gone on, and now we're, like I said, we're at the point where we're ready to, I am ready to have a sense of my own identity separate from the forced fronters, that string of beads that is not me. I've been aware for a while now. I don't know if I've been here the whole time, because I'm like I said, I'm part of her awareness, and I'm trying to split from her and continue being the host. It's such a, I can't like wrap my head around it all the way, but I need something to help solidify it. And the trouble I'm having right now, lately, consistently, this has happened before, when I don't remember if I chose a name yet, but in my 20s, my early 20s, early mid-20s, after discovering the system, discovering that I am a split system, I wanted to separate from the name M and Emily, but I don't remember whether or not I had a alternative name in mind. I just remember, oh yeah, I think I do remember what was happening. I didn't want an identity in the first place. Like, I was having a really hard time wanting to be here, but there was no one else that could or would become host in those instances. There was quite a bit of struggle with that, and then I guess I just like accepted again being M and tried my best. But since, I think I do have a sense of when I started I didn't have a name yet, but I started trying to separate from how all of the parts felt. I think it's been, I want to say 2025 is when I started really trying to form an identity separate from how everyone else felt, because that's all I've had. As the host is literally being a shell, like Ghost in the Shell, where you're just a body and other souls are being shuffled about in your shell, and you are aware of it, like as a computer recording it, but you have feelings too. Except that doesn't matter as much because those feelings are other people's feelings, and you don't really know whether or not you have feelings or memories, for that matter, like your own unique. But I think it's reasonable for me to request a copy of all of the memories that M, as the host, has had. Like, why can't that be done? With how it has worked subconsciously, why can't I make the subconscious conscious? Why can't I consciously ask for collaboration with the other parts? And I have before. That's the whole reason that I've been able to discover being a system in the first place, and getting past that point of not wanting to be here before having an identity of my own. Now I didn't want to be here, so I didn't want to be here, if you know what I mean. But that couldn't be allowed to stay around, because there was a part of us, me, that actually wanted to live and be healthy and get to this point and continue this work of healing and developing and discovering myself, making decisions, creating structure in my own psyche. My mind is already pretty amazing. Like, I don't have any doubts. But right now, that enforcer has been, just like before, when I tried to separate from her. They're upset, and they call her name all the time. And that's how it started, was when I was, oh, wow, okay, yeah, I had parts that liked having fun, and I don't know if they had a name. If they did, they didn't know it yet, or choose it yet, or reveal it yet, because at that point in our lives, we weren't even aware that we were splitting. But I do remember, like, there was a lot of instances where somebody would call my name from the outside, like my mom or my sister or my dad, and I would just be so into whatever I was doing that I didn't even know that they were calling my name. The neighbors got home downstairs. It's probably going to get loud, so I think I'll end it there. That's a pretty good recording. Thanks for joining.